Kamala Harris intends to experiment with middle-class capitalism. Vice President Kamala Harris has been campaigning with confidence and enthusiasm, except on the economy. She skirted the first question about whether Americans are better off than 4 years ago in her discussion with former President Donald Trump. Swing state voters still don't get her economic strategy. Experts constantly asking Harris to reveal more policy information to remedy this. Her trade strategy? For kid care? For tech? As for the deficit? This is bad advice because most voters don't study policy. Those who know Congress will adjust the details. Harris requires a defined economic theory. Voters want to know her thoughts on their top issue. How does she answer America first? Harris has a catchy opportunity economy phrase, maybe purposefully imprecise. Every American wants freedom and more opportunity. Harris is skilled at connecting voters with her personal narrative, especially her mother's. People remember Harris working at McDonald's and her mother saving for a decade to buy a home. But none of this reveals her presidential priorities. Her vision will be defined by others unless she does. Trump characterizes her as a Marxist or socialist. Harris's surrogates portray her differently for different audiences. Mark Cuban makes her sound moderately pro-business. Senator Bernie Sanders, independent Vermont, calls her a progressive. Harris must do two things to define her vision. First, she should highlight the U.S. economy's good news. Lots of this now, higher wages and incomes, especially for the middle class. Many people have found better jobs due to low unemployment. The Federal Reserve is preparing to decrease interest rates since gas, automobile, and other prices are falling. This landing seems soft. She should also underline that now that the economy is recovering, the President and Congress can tackle the country's long-term issues and invest in future jobs. Harris released numerous focused plans. A first-time homebuyer program exists. One helps entrepreneurs start tiny enterprises. A first-year parent guide is available. One targets price gouging. One tweaks the capital gains tax, raising it less than President Joe Biden would. Voters like many of these concepts, but Harris has no narrative to connect them. This is why many voters don't know Harris's plans. Stephanie, an undecided voter, told C-SPAN after the debate, "What I was looking for most was a strategy for the future. I learned as an indecisive voter that Kamala repeated her two-step plan. According to my understanding, she will provide $25,000 to new homeowners and $50,000 for small company startups, which do not impact me." Harris seems to support fair capitalism or middle-class capitalism. She opposes neoliberalism. Trump and Harris agree that free trade created too many losers and made the U.S. vulnerable to China. Trump is doubling down on tariffs and anti-immigrant sentiment at a century-high level. In addition, he promotes Republican tax cuts and less regulations. His playbook is ancient yet familiar. Harris wants to talk future. Her plan advocates for bold, strategic investments in the future economy. 3 million new homes are her goal. She wants more startups. She promotes industrial policy to bring back advanced U.S. manufacturing. In the discussion, she supported investing in diverse sources of energy. This build mentality is bipartisan and pro-business, based on the abundance agenda. Harris helps needy Americans as part of his agenda. Her larger child tax credit and advocacy for affordable child and elder care help. This supports her view that the federal government should aggressively prosecute large corporations that engage in anti-competitive behavior. Her agenda is more democratic here. Like Trump, Harris's economic ideas aren't strictly liberal-conservative. Her approach goes beyond government aid. Jen Harris, a former Biden advisor, called this vice presidential vision build and balance. I still admire middle-class capitalism. Harris must sell it better whatever she names it. Harris must clarify her economic theory so folks can see how they fit in.